Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our special edition on Kuje Prison. This is a Kula report. Last night, the Kuje Medium Correctional Center, that is Kuje Prison, was invaded. Invaded by attackers believed to be Boko Haram members or bandits or Islamic State for West Africa. They hit Kuje Prison of all places last night. Several inmates escaped. The official report by Nigerian government says 600 inmates left, or precisely over 600 inmates escaped. That is the word of the Minister of Defense. However, a more reliable report indicated that more than 1,000 inmates escaped, at least initially. We know that some of these inmates will be caught and brought back, and many are being brought back. However, the main inmates, the special inmates that have not been found, that have not been able to be captured and brought back to the prison, are the members of Boko Haram who were detained in Kuje Prison. Let me explain this, because I have been in Kuje Prison. I was detained in Kuje Prison for 2 years. My detention in Kuje Prison was not because I was found guilty of any offense, but because in Nigeria, they have a way of keeping innocent people in prison. 80% of the inmates in all Nigerian prisons have not been tried and have not been convicted. A lot of them are there because somebody made an allegation against them. So in Nigeria, if they don't like you, if you criticize the police or if you criticize powerful people in government, what they would do is to frame you up with a charge and get you remanded in prison, and then they'll drag out trial for years. That was how I ended up in Kuje Prison. I stayed there for 2 years. I was in Kuje when the COVID came, and the courts were shut down, many things were shut down, nobody was being tried. In other words, I was in prison awaiting trial that did not exist, a trial that was not on. You can figure out the implication of that. That was how Kuje ended up with 1,300 inmates as of last count yesterday. This morning, the inmates that remained in Kuje were less than 150. You can do the math. Minister of Defense says over 600. That is an understatement. The real figure is double of that. You need to understand how Kuje is situated. We couldn't make an idea of exactly what happened until we saw some of the pictures today. When I saw the pictures, I knew Kuje Prison. I was able to understand from the pictures how the attack occurred. In Kuje, you have 4 custodies. One custody is called bomb blast. Bomb blast. Why bomb blast? Because that is where the prison authorities decided to concentrate members of Boko Haram that were caught, tried, terrorists, suspected of terrorism, either convicted of terrorism or awaiting trial for terrorism. All of them were kept in one particular block in the prison, one of the 4 blocks in the prisons. And they call it, the inmates named it bomb blast. Why? Because that's where where terrorist suspects stay. Then you have another custody called Egypt. Indeed, Egypt is custody 1, bomb blast is custody 2, but they have individual names. So custody 2 is custody 1 is Egypt, where the poorest of the poor people, poor inmates who could not afford to bribe their way to stay in a more suitable cell, are concentrated in Egypt. It's a horrible place to be. Then you have custody 3. Custody 3 is where convicted inmates stay. So those who have been tried and convicted stay in custody 3. But because those who were convicted are few in number, custody 3 had to also have special privileged awaiting trial inmates or convicted inmates as well. Then finally you have custody 4. custody 4 is a good or comparatively good custody. Ordinary people stay there, but they also carve out special cells for elite inmates. So, from the report we are hearing, everybody in custody 2, called bomb blast, that is the bomb blast custody, everybody in it escaped and are not being found. Others, everybody also in Egypt escaped, but some of them in Egypt will be found and brought back. Some escaped in custody 3, some escaped in custody 4. Indeed, almost all inmates escaped. How did it happen? All right. From the pictures we saw today, it seemed that the major breach of the prison perimeter or prison wall was done by the front side of the prison. There is a metal gate through which vehicles that take inmates to court bring them back in the afternoon. That is where their truck goes in, and the inmates are light from those trucks and then file into the prison compound. So that was breached clearly from the picture. We also heard that after the big bomb, the first bomb blast, there were 2 to 3 more major blasts. Those blasts must have occurred on the other sides of the prison wall. But at the end of these 3 main blasts, there were gaping holes on the walls of prison compound, making it possible for inmates to leave. But it didn't just end there. The attackers seem to have been well prepared. Their members in the bomb blast seem also to have been informed. They were prepared to move. They knew something was going to happen, apparently. So this happened, and these attackers entered the prison. We wondered what happened to the warders on duty, because usually there will be warders on duty, night duty, inside the prison compound. What happened? Did they escape? Were they killed? Were they taken hostage? We don't know. And we can tell you one thing clear. If you are trusting Nigerian authority to tell you the truth of what happened, you will never get the truth from the government. You are going to rely on conjectures, guesses, your intelligent estimates of the possibilities of events in light of the little we know. That is it. So we're going to use these conjectures to tell you what we think happened. So these attackers entered the compound. But you have to understand one thing. After lockout, or after lockup, that is, every evening, the inmates are locked into their cells. Every cell is locked from outside. An inmate cannot come out until it is unlocked. His cell is unlocked the next morning. So this attack occurred 9:30 p.m. So it meant that the inmates were all locked in their cells when it happened. So when the attackers came in, they breached the walls with 3 to 4 main bomb blasts, and the prison walls are highly fortified concrete, several centimeters in width. So the blast must have been heavy enough. It must have been a major detonation to breach those walls, and it happened. So, but if you get into the compound after breaching the wall, you will still have difficulty getting into the cells of the inmates. So we're going to find out how the attackers were able to breach the cell blocks and breach each cell. We're going to find out, because there will be up to, I would say, more than 400 cells, each locked with padlocks and metal bars. We want to know, or we are trying to imagine, how they were able to break into each cell and free everybody. We'll get to that in the next part of this series.